Hi loves, thank you for joining me today. In this video, I'm starting my series on affordable alternatives to Copic markers. I'll be reviewing a variety of alcohol-based marker brands to see which ones are worth your money. And today, I'll be reviewing the Finecolour 48 brush set. The markers are packaged in two clear plastic containers, each holding 24 markers. The boxes are labeled Part 1 and Part 2. Through the packaging, I can see the markings that this is the brush nib set. I cannot see the colors from the top because of the soft padding layer, but I can see a glimpse of the colors from the bottom of the package. The markers in this set have a black barrel, which is the standard design for the Finecolour's entire brush tip series. The brand also offers bullet tip markers, which come in a white barrel design. On the side of the container, I can see all the colors that I can find in the Part 1. It is also said that this is the Finecolour Brush Professional Markers. And on the other side, it is said that these are double-ended markers with brush and broad nibs. The finest control of ink flow, refillable ink and replaceable nibs, and they are non-toxic. And I can see the same on the second container, but the colors listed are for the second part of the set. Okay, let's quickly take the film off. Seems like each marker has its own individual slot to keep it secure in place. The containers feel very sturdy, and I think it will be very convenient to store them in those containers. Now let's open the Part 1 and see the colors inside. I cannot see here a particular color order. Let me tell you about this brand. So Finecolour is a Chinese brand known for producing alcohol-based markers. Their sets range from 24 to 72 colors. Finecolour offers an impressive palette of 480 colors in total. You can purchase the markers individually, and there are refills and replaceable nibs available, which is a big plus for long-term use. Now let's take a look at the Part 2. Again, no particular color order, but I can see here more grays. As Finecolour is a Chinese brand, it's widely available here in Ukraine and in some Asian countries. Unfortunately, it's much harder to find them in the US and Europe. So, if you're watching from there, I can mention Ohuhu markers as the great alternative you can easily get on Amazon. For now, I don't have access to Ohuhu myself, so I can't review them yet, but I definitely hope to in the future. So this video will also show you how to break down a marker color palette and how much you can achieve with a limited palette of 48 colors. I think I can put those containers on the sides for the convenience in the work. Looks cute and markers are secure in there. Now let's take a look at the markers themselves. The marker body is made from a sturdy plastic and feels solid in the hand. It has an oval shape, and the caps are slightly softened rectangles, and on both ends you'll find the color code along with the written color name. On the barrel you can find the brand name and icons showing which end has which nib. The brush nib looks like the same size as Copic markers, and the broad nib feels like the same size as Copic too. Let's compare them with Copic Sketch. Their size is very similar. Both brands have oval barrel shapes, which not only makes it comfortable to hold, but also prevents it from the rolling of the table. Here are the brush nibs side by side. Visually, it looks very similar. And the same here for the chisel nibs. So now I want to swatch all the colors, and I'm gonna be doing this with the same order that they come in the package. I've decided to test both nibs, brush and chisel, for testing the juiciness and application. And they all turn out juicy in a controllable way. Most caps seems to match the color swatches, except for few, but I'll talk about this a little bit later. As for the colors, I like how most hues have 3 shades, light, medium and dark, which is great for markers. Yellows are nice and non-neon. Greens are a surprise, a set of 3 warm greens, which is very nice, and cool greens. And they are all pretty usable, unlike most cartoony ones. There are only a few violets, but they are great for shading. I can also see here a nice 3-color gradation of oranges, which is nice. Reds are beautiful, especially vermilion and blood red, but there is no light red or no pinks at all. Although blues are rarely used in the food illustration, there are 2 lovely sets of 3 shades. cool turquoise or cobalt blues and 3 warm ultramarine blues. They are very beautiful. I've also noticed 2 beige and 2 brown colors that are perfect for illustrations. So let's look at the palette as a food illustrator. Yellows are great for egg yolk, apples, pears, cheese, pineapples, and bright yellow for lemons and bananas. These 3 warm greens are great for leaves, kiwis, mint, limes, olives, and many more. Cool ones are great for peas, apples, leaves, a couple of very nice violets for the shading. The reds from this set can make great strawberries, red velvet cakes, tomatoes, and many more. Beiges and browns are perfect for pastry like croissants, bread, toast, and also chocolate, nuts, and more. Blues are great for cocktails such as Blue Lagoon, blueberries, blackberries, plums, grapes, ice cream, cotton candy, macarons, and many more sweets. 2 blue violets and 1 violet seems like a little bit weird, but I think it's great for the layering. Next 3 colors are for orange. This is great for oranges, pears, egg yolks, caramel, persimmons, french fries. Moving on to the grays, very important part of the palette. Here we have 3 toner grays, light, medium and dark, 3 warm grays, light, medium and dark, and the same for the cool grays. 3 variations of gray is perfect for food illustration. You can make a big variation of muted colors, as well as darken all the colors you have in your palette. The only issue here with this particular set, I feel like there is not enough light grays. They are essential for drawing white objects in the food illustration, and there are lots of them, such as whipped cream, cream cheese, different variations of cheese, soufflés, ice cream, and many more. Overall, I find this palette pretty balanced, taking into the account that this is the limited color selection. Now let's check if the cup colors match the swatches. Now I'm grabbing random colors out of the boxes. While I was swatching, I've noticed that most of them are pretty close to the swatches, but some of them were a little bit off. This green, for example, when it was wet on the swatch, it seemed way more off, but now it seems pretty close. Still not perfect, but close. Same thing with this red. Now I can see that they are pretty close. The rest of the caps match the swatches almost perfectly. I've noticed that on this specific cap there's poorly printed name of the color, but the rest is absolutely fine. Now let's take a look at the nibs a bit closer. The brush nib is soft and flexible. Here with light pressure I get a thin line, and with more pressure it expands into a thick stroke. It feels quite soft compared to Copics, a little harder to control for very fine details. The flow is nice and even, no skipping, just a smooth gradient of ink. Because the nib is less elastic, it doesn't snap back right away. The marker lays down a lot of ink quickly, so it's very juicy. The nib glides smoothly across the paper. The broad nib performs good too, no surprises here. The ink flow is consistent and no streaking or skipping. And now I want to test how much of tone variation I can get from one color. So I'm grabbing my 3 blues, light, medium and dark, and gonna be testing on all of the 3. This is a very useful knowledge, especially in the limited palette. So now I'm applying layer 1. Now applying the second layer of each color. Right after the application, color seems a little bit darker, so we need to wait until it's dry. Now it's layer 3 and the layer 4. I think this is gonna be enough. Look how many shades you can have just from one color, how much darker you can go with this color. The lightest one is very impressive, from very light to almost mid-tone. And now I'm testing soft gradients and some color combinations that I think would look nice together. The gradients are simple, light, medium and dark tones of the same color. By the way, I'm using here a Bristol paper 250 GSM, the same as on the swatch sheet. So these cool blues blend into each other very smooth. The gradient from yellow-green to olive gives a fresh and lively look. Cool greens create a calmer, more muted effect compared to the warm green. Light apricot into a deeper orange makes a juicy fruit-like gradient. Yellows blend nicely, giving that warm golden vibe. 2 essential beiges blend between each other very nicely. Light and medium brown give the soft transition too. Cool grays are essential for shadows, and I like this vivid blue undertone to these grays. These are not all gradients that are possible within this set, just the ones that I feel like testing. And now a small test for layering. And with these markers I can feel that I can change hues of the colors with help of layering. And now the final test. Let's draw a food illustration with this 48 set. I'm gonna be using a white colored pencil and the white gel pen, as I often use them in my illustrations. And because of the lack of very light colors, I'm gonna be using a Copic colorless blender at the end just a little bit. I wanted to test those beige and brown colors, so for this test illustration, I've chosen a sandwich art. I also wanted to test those lovely reds and warm greens, so the sandwich is with tomatoes, mozzarella and basil. The lightest beige here is not light enough to me, I'd picked lighter, but let's see how it goes. So now I'm coloring my bread slices with light and mid-tone beige colors. The colors layer and blend pretty nicely. The only thing I had while drawing is softer brush nib. It is a little bit harder to control and make details. I still could get those fine details, but it was not that convenient. And now I'm shading my bread slices with mid-tone and dark brown, and they fit perfectly here. I didn't have any light reds or pinks for the tomatoes, so I had to think of another way. For bright red and juicy objects such as tomatoes or strawberries, for example, I'm using oranges, and I have 3 very nice oranges here in this set. So for the lightest parts of my tomatoes, I used my oranges, and for the deepest parts, where the seeds of the tomatoes are, I used deep olive warm green. And on the contrast with red, it worked just absolutely great. Now I'm testing the application of my white colored pencil on these markers, and it works just fine. Frankly speaking, the paper is more important than markers, but it still works great. For the basil, I've picked up a range of 3 warm greens. They blend nicely and suit really great for this color palette. Mozzarella turned out the trickiest part. Lack of light colors is very limiting in drawing white objects. And food and illustration has a lot of white and very light objects. So I went with my lightest beige that is not very light, added shadows with my lightest warm gray that is also not light, and softened the edges with my white colorless blender by Copic. And as a final touch, I've added cast shadow with my warm grays. I thought those grays would fit more with this color palette. So there's one thing left that I would like to discuss, and it's the price. I bought this set of 48 with brush nibs in Ukraine for about $95, which makes almost $2 per marker. And at about this price, they are available individually. Let's compare the prices with Copics. Copics have the set of 36. Copic Sketch 36 set costs here about $257, which makes about $7 per marker. Individuals here even more expensive for almost $9 per marker. So the Finecolours with their inks and refillable nibs feel like more cost-effective. And with that, I am ready to share my final thoughts. The palette in this 48 color set is well balanced. Most hues have both warm and cool variations, making it versatile for many subjects, including landscapes, food illustration and botanical art. Green tones are often a problem in marker sets because they tend to be overly neon or artificial. But here the greens include pleasant warm and cool gradations. Surprisingly, there are no pink shades in the set. I think this is because of the limited palette. But on the bright side, the set includes small but great range of beiges and browns, which are essential for food illustration. The grays are also well covered with neutral, warm and cool options. The set is lacking in very light and very dark colors. Darker tones can be achieved by mixing with grays, but there is no way to lighten colors except by layering with the blender. And unfortunately, the set doesn't include a colorless blender. I would recommend adding at least a blender and ideally also light versions of your most used colors. This would turn the set into a fully functional professional kit. My main pros of the set: comes in a convenient storage box, comfortable barrel shape, well-balanced palette with essential colors, warm and cool versions of most hues, refillable, and available individually. And the cons are this: no blender included, limited number of light colors, no pink shades, and too soft brush nib to my taste. So, this set is an excellent base for illustrators working in almost any genre. The brush tip allows for smooth gradients, the price is very reasonable, and the markers can be refilled for long-term use. For beginners, it's a fantastic starting point, and with just few additional colors and a blender, it becomes a complete, comfortable and affordable set. And one little test at the end. Let's see if the markers bleed through. This is a Bristol paper 185 GSM, not very thick. Yes, I can see the bleed through, but it's totally normal for alcohol markers. This is the art with Copics on the same paper. The bleed through is less, but this might be just because the new set is fully fresh. And another Copic marker art, and we also can see the bleed through. This also can be a result with me layering multiple colors to get the right hues I need, because of the limited palette. Thank you so much for watching this review of Finecolour 48 brush set. Let me know if you tried them or would like to try. If you like to see how I use markers in full illustrations, I have a step-by-step video lessons on my Patreon page. You'll find the link below. Share the brands in the comments you would like to see reviews from me. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now!